Whether we actually have a series or not remains to be seen, but for one night at least, the crew from Dallas was able to put their foot down and say, we're not going to take it anymore. The defensive game plan worked perfectly, Luka stopped being a buzzkill, and it was over by halftime as the Mavericks beat the Celtics by the third highest point differential in the history of the NBA Finals. Let's just go straight through the game to figure out how Jason Kidd's strategies on both ends of the floor work so well after 3 straight setbacks. Like we started seeing in Game 3, the Mavericks want to make sure Kyrie doesn't guard the corner, so he switches with Luka on the weak side. While the Celtics are happy to force Gafford onto Tatum, it makes no sense for White to cut along the baseline and bring his man there with the help. Now Tatum is stuck with an athletic big on him in the lane, no time on the clock, and is woefully short on the fadeaway. The Mavericks posted their highest paced quarter in the finals in Game 4, looking to get into actions higher and earlier, catching Horford on Gafford in the pick and roll. Normally, they'd have him on Jones Jr. in the corner, but it all happened so fast, and Kyrie's rejecting of the screen catches Horford out of position. He is also more concerned with the roll man instead of the more important ball, and it's a layup. Let's discuss the Celtics' three-point shooting for a moment. Since they were able to clear the whole side for Jaylen Brown, yet he burps up this semi-contested three way early in the shot clock. In the finals, they're shooting a tepid 33.9%, which would rank them last if this was the regular season. In the first 3 rounds of the playoffs, they were shooting a solid 36.8%, which would rank them 6th among all playoff teams. The almost 3% drop in the finals might not seem like a lot, but that's the equivalent of dropping a whopping 19 spots in the three-point shooting rankings in the regular season. And it makes perfect sense to me. Of course, when they make their threes, everything looks fine and dandy. But I like to study how shooters miss their threes, and it can tell you a lot. When so many of the Celtics' missed three-point shots are as off-target by such wide margins, it's no surprise that they'd go through wild swings where they can't seem to hit one. Depending on which data set you want to look at, both Synergy and the NBA reveal a struggle on catch and shoot and off the dribble threes that should be a little concerning considering how much the Celtics rely on that extra point. I believe team-wide slumps are real, and when one player starts pressing, others begin putting extra pressure on themselves, and it can cascade into a river of bricks that make you want to flinch like Horford does on free throws. And if you're going to get close to 50% on your three-point frequency, then shot selection becomes a big part of why you might struggle with shooting. Lack of adaptability plays a big part, as there are few coaches and trainers who properly explore different arcs, arm swings, dip sizes, and everything else related to the mechanics of the jump shot. Tatum and White have the most way off misses, but no one in the Celtics is completely immune, so I'd expect the wild swings to continue throughout the rest of the finals. And if for some reason that swing continues the way it has, and there's enough evidence by these misses to tell me it's kinda likely, then the Mavericks might have a chance to get back in the series. Back to the game, more pace, as Luka wastes no time going right at Derek White, something the Celtics cannot afford to do with their defensive matchups going forward. But with all the cross-matching that happens on every possession, it might be unavoidable on several possessions each game. The issue for the Mavs with Horford guarding Jones Jr. was when the Mavs attacked Al in the pick and roll, Jones wasn't in his optimal corner spot. Well, they adjusted here and get him back to the corner after the roll, so Luka can now go at Al with good spacing. Remember, the Celtics have been great at scramming Horford out of the pick and roll as his man starts to set the screen for Luka. The Mavericks finally remembered they have a double ball screen package in their offense, so they just send Horford's new man up the screen and voila, Luka gets the matchup he wanted, but he bails him out with a quick 3 on a good contest. The Celtics are actually committing one more turnover per game than the Mavericks, and good things always happen when you take care of the ball, just like you'll find success taking care of your balls with Manscaped. With their new Performance Package 5.0 Ultra, it has everything you need to look and feel as good as Al Horford does, since I'm sure his veteran savvy keeps it well groomed down there. If you want to get your balls into the basket, they've got to be well kept, and their dual skin safe blade heads provide an unparalleled level of trimming from the Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra. While the trimmer blade features longer, wider, and rounded teeth that cuts through hair with ease, it's incredibly gentle on the skin. But here comes the real showstopper, the foil blade. Crafted to transcend the boundaries of your typical trim with the trimmer blade, this foil blade is designed to leave you with a finish that's irresistibly sleek and utterly bare. I love the bigger LED light that illuminates the hard-to-reach areas so they're ready for their close-up. The rechargeable weed whacker means you'll never have to leave the house with ear or nose hair sticking out, and because it's waterproof, cleaning is easy. Right now, with my code BBALL, I can get you 20% off your order and 2 free gifts. Some of the most comfortable boxers I've ever worn, and a travel bag to keep all your Manscaped products safe and handy. Jaylen Brown cannot be taking 2 seconds to celebrate his bucket while Luka again pushes the pace. Just like White can't guard Luka, neither can Drew, and Brown's little fist pump meant he couldn't get back to guard Luka himself. It would help if Tatum would rotate over, but I guess he's concerned about the trailing Lively. Luka made 2 major adjustments in Game 4. He stopped yelling at the refs, and he started playing good defense. They bring him up into the dance against Tatum, a good offensive strategy, no doubt, but Luka shows that he's got some quickness and fast twitch in him, and with Horford clogging the paint with no time left on the shot clock, Tatum's got to step back and can't hit it. The Mavericks know Drew is too good a defender for Kyrie to consistently ISO against, so they run the pistol action on the right side to force a switch. They also know Horford is guarding PJ in the corner and won't help off. Tatum is not a natural rim protector and is way late to contest this nice lefty runner off the glass. We saw this in Game 3 when Tatum screened off Kyrie, seals him on his back, and slips to the rim. Kyrie continues to be slow reacting to this, and it works because they pulled Lively out to the perimeter, but we didn't see this action again, unfortunately. I think this is the moment when we sense the avalanche. While I normally rip defenders who help off the corner one pass away, you can't blame Tatum for doing that to Lively, a guy who took exactly 2 threes in the regular season and hadn't even shot one in the playoffs. In fact, it appears Lively might be the only player ever to hit a 3 in the finals after only taking 2 in the regular season. With the switching out top and Luka and Lively also switching on the weak side, the Mavericks have essentially turned their man-to-man into a pseudo-zone, as Lively can stop the penetration, but watch how he uses offensive footwork to quickly erase this Tillman shot. Defenders need to do a lot more of this, as you can picture Lively receiving a pass for a dunk with the same type of step through, and here comes that pace I was talking about. Luka's willingness to pass the ball up court opens up an immediate possibility for Lively running the floor. Kyrie thought better about giving the big man the ball so far from the basket. Tatum moves toward him to protect the rim, but then gets confused in the paint as he's not guarding anyone, steps up toward the free throw line for no reason, and gorgeous feed from Kyrie. Tatum is still confused that it was supposed to be him guarding Lively. Xavier Tillman's minutes were devastating to the Celtics, posting a negative 13 plus-minus in only 7.5 minutes. When he's in, they match up traditionally, so it's easy for the Mavs to run an elbow ball screen to force a switch, and while Tillman has had a couple of stops on Luka, this one isn't one of them. Here's another scram switch where White takes Tillman's place in the pick and roll, so the Mavericks just send a second ball screener to get the same matchup. We get another controversial drawn foul by Luka, and we went over this the last time, but to sum it up, in order for this to be an offensive foul, this shot has to be an unnatural and overt motion into the defender. While you might think this shot is quote-unquote unnatural, it looks like a floater, and the ref isn't there to say you're not allowed to shoot a floater from the three-point line. It's a free country. Now, the contact from Luka isn't overt, and the way to discern this is to check where his shoulders are in relation to his feet. They're basically stacked, so he's not throwing himself into the defender the way the case studies have shown as offensive fouls. So at best you could hope for a no call, but the real issue is that he traveled before the contact. So it would be nice if the refs caught him moving his left foot pivot here and we wouldn't have to go through the angst over the foul call. Tillman might as well have had a target on his chest. It's too easy to force a switch onto Kyrie, clear out the side, and Jaylen Brown is not a rim protector, so he gets caught in no man's land. He doesn't contest, he wasn't hanging back to prevent the lob to Lively either, and Kyrie gets a light snack in the lane. More great Luka defense as he slides his feet and closes the gap, catching Drew unprepared as his crossover happens to hit Luka's foot. Remember, it's not a kicked ball violation unless it's intentional. And now more pace, as Luka will not let Drew out of the octagon. If the Celtics want to stay at home on everyone else, Luka will take the holiday and it will be so nice. They were lucky to catch Drew on an off night as he blows the lefty layup, and more focus on pushing the ball. This was a terrible shot by Kyrie. Even if they had a little lead at the time, you've got Sam Hauser picking you up in space. But watch Tatum actually check to see if Green was going to go, but then not try to box him out or really even go for the rebound at all as the lead grows to 10. I have to imagine Kidd was stressing pace the whole series, and better late than never, I guess, as it's always a good idea to catch the defense retreating as it opens up good shots on the perimeter like this one from PJ. With their chances to win rapidly dwindling, the Celtics uncork this beauty of a possession. Here's the Mavs pseudo zone as Lively lurks on the block. Luka should have been the one to bump up and defend the pick and roll so Lively could continue to stay down by the block. Instead, Lively has to sprint to the three-point line, Luka gives up a step that forces Green to rotate, and now the defense is in full scramble mode, but more great defense by Luka as he hustles to the spot, uses pretty good verticality to contest, and now they're back to attacking Tillman again within 6 seconds of the possession starting. Jaylen Brown cannot be running alongside the roll man without also keeping his eyes on the ball. That said, Luka puts the pass where only Lively can get it. White properly bumps down, but this is supposed to be Tatum Xing out to the corner. That doesn't happen, and Exum lights up the scoreboard. Even more Tillman hunting, and he does a good job with this one, cutting Luka off twice and in good position to contest a potential midi. But Jaylen Brown cannot wander down to the dotted line. There was no need to. He's got two teammates already in position nearby, and it's too easy a play to kick out and hit this three as the lead grows to 17. Another good Tillman defensive possession, and credit Brown for learning from the last time. He stays at home on his man, and they force Luka into an impossible shot. It's the Celtics' turn to push the pace a little, which is always a good idea if you need points quickly, and this was it. Pritchard gets as good a look as they're going to get, and we were sensing it wasn't going to be Boston's night. More good Luka defense. They want to target him with Brown, but Luka deflects the dribble, stays in front, and Drew again can't hit the contested lefty layup. If that Pritchard missed three wasn't the signal the game was over, then this most certainly was. Luka doesn't bail Hauser out this time, blowing by him into the lane. Drew is always awesome with the hands, and what should have been a surefire turnover and run out for the Celtics turns into a batted ball by Luka to an open area of the court. He must have figured at the very least it will go out of bounds and Boston won't get an easy bucket in transition. But he probably also sensed that there would be two Mavericks to one Celtic in the corner. Hard to believe no one stayed with Luka as he got back on his feet, and maybe Jason Kidd should add this Luka falling down batting ball in the corner action to the playbook. Down 18 in the hostile environment, it is imperative that you take the absolute best shot you can possibly get. You've got Tatum on the floor, along with shooters all around him. Instead of creating an advantage to the basket and then spraying the ball to an open shooter, they opt for a flare screen for White, and he just shoots a contested three with 14 on the shot clock. Can you hear me shaking my head? While the Mavericks don't force Hauser onto Luka the first time, a simple rescreen gets the matchup they want in the middle of the floor, a place you can't really double without giving up a wide open shot. So Luka has his way on the little 18-footer. They're simply going to need Tatum to play better than he has the whole series. I wonder if he's caught up in the battle for the Finals MVP, since it's gotten him too single-minded on scoring. While Kyrie is a matchup he should be able to score on, credit Irving for staying in front well. Not only was this an offensive foul, Kyrie is completely dislodged and knocked to the floor, unlike the Tillman play with Luka, but also traveled before the contact. You can pivot from ball of your foot to the heel legally, but then you cannot go back to the ball of the foot and change the axis. If that was too subtle, he then slides the foot forward several inches, which is also a no-no. This seemed a little crazy to me, putting Hauser on Luka to start on purpose. And if you're going to do that, then Horford has to shadow on the low block. He never gets over to offer support. Hauser is powerless to stop Luka, and he just slips it in for an and one, and this game is officially over. But let's spotlight one final Luka defensive masterclass. The Celtics keep running this swing into pick and roll where Tatum will just swing it one more time instead. However, check how Luka denies the ball back to Tatum, forcing him to catch it near half court. While he does get beat, Kyrie broke off his man to stop the ball early, and Luka reads this perfectly and sprints for a good contest. Every inch counts on a shot that misses like this, and Horford can't hang on to the rebound. The odds are that the Celtics get some home cooking this weekend and finish the series on Monday. They've already proven they're the better team, but the absence of Porzingis looms extremely large. Just check his on-off numbers in the finals. His impact in those 44 minutes is by far more positive than any other regular rotation player. And if Tillman gets those minutes, it might not even matter that he's been decent on a lot of those possessions because the whole defense tends to collapse to support him, and that can open up corner threes, which would really unlock the Mavs' offense. And if Luka can refrain from constantly clashing with the refs, play great defense, and rely on the Celtics' inconsistent shooting, Who knows? Maybe this could be the first time we ever see a team come back from an 0-3 hole. Heck, I'd just take a Game 7 at this point.